What's up, beautiful people? Thank you for joining me. I'm a spiritual bodybuilder, and here is your video about Leo season. So we made it through Cancer season, right? Man, that was intense. And so that was a process of going deep into our emotions, deep into our feelings, and purging out and looking at all the things that are holding us back that we no longer want to be a part of our life, really. And moving into Leo season is emerging this new energy of discovery of our passions, of our desires at a much deeper level. So we're getting infused with all this new energy. Now that can be good, but the way our energy works is we have information that comes through our crown chakra, goes down all our 7 chakras to the root. And that's when we get the epiphanies, the aha moments, the wow, I need to, do something or change something, or the clarity that comes in. But that's not all. It has to make 2 trips, right? Because it first goes, this is the intellectual identification of this new energy. Then it has to come back up through the root, through the sacral, through the heart, through all the 7 chakras up to the crown to embody that energy. And when it comes back up, whatever blockages are sitting in those chakras, they're going to be blasted open. And when those energies, those denser energies that no longer serving us are blasted open, that's when it can bring up all that trauma, all that pain, all the things we haven't dealt with yet. So it may create circumstances like that, okay? But on the same token, if you're watching this, then you've been doing the work for sure. So you've been through this thousands of times, right? So just really the process of going through this is basically to just be okay and get adjusted to sitting in that discomfort, to that feeling, and learning how to just let it go through you. Okay, it's a good thing. These energies that are coming in are positive. They're growth oriented. They're bringing us closer to our understanding of our real true desires and what we want to create in our life. And since we just had eclipse season that had to do with our home and family in the North Node, in our future and where we're going, that is the unknown, right? So we are making changes internally and externally for the next 6 months of what we want our family to look like, what we feel like family is within us, right? Like really seeing the contrast and the difference. There's a timeline splitting here. And whatever we don't want or is not in alignment with our energy is going to be pushed out, and whatever is in alignment with our energy is going to be really magnified in. So we want to make sure that our energy is high vibe. We want to make sure that we're not holding on and staying stuck in that need to control type of energy. And as we release that energy, it's going to purge out all this stuff, and we're going to come closer and closer as we go through this transformative cycle of the Pluto-Saturn transit. And right now, the energy of Pluto is mighty potent, especially at the beginning of Leo season. Just a few days before, we had the Venus-Pluto opposition. Now, this Pluto energy, it can be kind of scary. It's one of the malefics, and it's very, very intense energy. But here's a good thing, right? The more that we go through this stuff, and we will be going through it more throughout the next 6 months, the stronger we become. It empowers us. It's an empowering energy because it's excavating all that crap that is sitting deep within us that is no longer serving us, right? And, if you look out in the world right now with all this stuff going on, with like these sex scandals and all these Hollywood celebrities and these cults and all this deep, dark, nasty crap that nobody wants exposed, right? All these high-profile people are getting caught and looked at. The same thing, that's the big picture. But in the same token, in the more individual level, we're all going through some kind of purging of things that we don't want anybody to know about. you know, complete vulnerability, complete exposure to the world in some kind of way, or to people or places or things that we care about. And we have to look at this and be like, do we really care about their opinion? Are they going to support me if, you know, they know all of me? Right? So we have to ask ourselves these questions, because if people aren't supporting you, it's time to go, right? Chuck it in the fucking bucket. It needs to just die, because what is that serving you? What is that bringing you, right? Nothing good. And we want to bring in the good, okay? So let's go here and look at the chart. So here we have July 23rd, day number 1, all right? And kicking it off, we have Jupiter trine the Sun and sesquiquadrate to Venus, with Chiron trine Mercury and trine the Sun as well. So, you know, Mercury is 4 degrees within the Sun. That's pretty close to still be a conjunction. It just went through a cazimi, so you know that energy is with Mercury going retrograde. It's still bringing up all this deep stuff that had to do with the eclipse energy. So for the next couple weeks, we're going to be still bringing up different cycles of this eclipse energy to look at it and process it and let it go. But this trine between Jupiter and Mars is really beneficial. That's like this get up and go, let's make it happen kind of energy. It's really excited. It really wants to, you know, like jump up and express yourself. So I encourage you to, you know, get out there, express yourself, make it happen, you know, and, you know, stand in your power. And now when you stand in your power in certain situations, there may be resistance. And it's our responsibility to ourselves that when that resistance come up, be like, you know what, I'm not going to take on that energy. You're entitled to think and feel what you want to, but this is me, and I'm not gonna hold on to that. I don't need to hold on to this guilt. I don't need to hold on to this shame. I'm me, and I'm proud of me, and I love me. So fuck you. Basically, I mean, it's at that point where, you know, the energy is coming in right now. We're not going to be able to change their mind. These timelines are getting closer and closer to solidifying. It'll pretty much be solidified when by the time Pluto goes direct here, I believe in September. So for the next couple months, it's like it's closing the gap. The door is starting to get real small. And so somebody's not on your team, they're not going to be on your team. So you can't try to negotiate. You can't try to help. You can't try to, you know, figure out. You need to focus on you and stay true to your beliefs about yourself, and you're going to have a positive outcome as long as you stay. And you know, you're going to have to dig deep, because these true desires deep down, you know, they're met with this deep opposition. But the deeper we go to bring our desires to light, the more we face all this deep stuff. And you know what? It's really just going to bring it to this whole new level that we don't even know yet, because we haven't gone this deep before. Right? Now, Chiron trine Mercury and the Sun, that's, of course, also bringing up more things from our childhood to be healed. And I think this is all interconnected, because, you know, all these fears and all these apprehensions, even phobias that we have, are derived from learned conditioned behavior from our childhood. So with Chiron retrograde at 5 degrees, we can expect for things to come up that are really going to make us feel incredibly vulnerable. But you know what? Because at Chiron and Pluto energy, it's all about vulnerability and facing that stuff. And we also have the moon square to Saturn, the south node, and Pluto, and square to the north node, and pretty much Venus. So that's, you know, that's a lot of emotional tension in regards to this stuff coming up. But that energy requires tension to be exposed, to be brought through. Okay. So on July 24th, we have Jupiter transiting back to 14 degrees of Sag. Now, 14 degrees is where the great attractor is, so it's now sitting right on top of this black hole energy that is this awakening, purifying kind of energy, while it's trying to Mars, and pretty soon it's going to be trying to the Sun. That's just bringing all this light and all this higher vibration. As that higher vibration comes in, the lower vibration cannot stay. You know, we're filled with a certain amount of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It's just transformed, right? So as we let go of this stuff, we're having new stuff coming in. It's coming in faster and more efficiently, really, than ever before. All right. But as this accelerates, it feels like things are speeding up. It feels like, you know, really intense, like, whoa, I'm being like pulled in this direction. And it's like sometimes you're like, oh, I need to break, I got to slow down. But you know what? The more that we're able to just not slow down and to just feel it and go with it, the better we are. Okay. So Saturn is also semi-sextile Jupiter, and that's basically going to be there for, you know, the next, you know, I'd say 3-4 months, and that's a really great energy for our belief systems, right? Our belief systems are being purged up in a big way because Pluto, Chiron, Saturn, and Jupiter are really, really about our belief systems. Specifically, Jupiter and Sagittarius, you know, the ninth house rules our beliefs. It rules esoteric knowledge. It rules traveling. So, you know, through travels, whether internally or externally, through our experiences, we're being tested with our belief systems to, and Pluto's reinforcing that to say, hey, look, you know, this shit ain't serving you anymore. You say you want this. How bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough to actually change your life? You do. We're giving you the opportunity. So let's go. Right? We have to be courageous. We have to be strong. We have to be sure within ourselves. And that means we have to surround ourselves with people that feed that positive energy, that love and care and cherish us and want to see the best for us. So I encourage you, you know, we all need to lean on each other. So lean on each other right now for that support, and it's going to go a very, very long way. And it's that's really going to solidify sort of that nuclear family or that feeling of family within yourself at a deeper level. All right. And right now, Uranus is also square the sun, and Neptune is sesquiquadrate the sun. Okay, so you know, that Uranus sun, you know, Uranus has been square basically all the personal planets here. So it's been going through these phases and these layers of this personal growth, this shaking things up, this earthquake type energy of letting us see and understand, you know, where we're going and what we're doing in relationship to this shift and transformation into this higher vibration. So that can be really, really uncomfortable, but you know what? It's good. Just like all the other energies, you know, you know, sometimes it kind of feels like a broken record, but these are different types of energies that are affecting us all. And Uranus and Taurus is really bringing up, you know, like our self-worth and our self-confidence, you know, in regards to our desires. Like, do we have the self-confidence? Like, do we really believe in ourselves enough to be able to accept and receive these desires that we want to experience? And, you know, if we're being honest with ourselves, then yes, we can most definitely make that happen. Now, on July 26th, we have the Jupiter is exactly, well, no, it's not exactly. It's on the 26th, we have Mercury coming into the opposition of Pluto. Well, it's already gone through its opposition of Pluto, but you know, that energy is gonna cross back over again once Mercury goes direct, and it's gonna cross over, you know, opposed to Pluto, the South Node, and Saturn again. So right now we're in the middle of this, you know, things coming up and seeing them, and then as it goes forward, it's gonna be like, okay, now we've learned the lesson, now we've figured it out. It's time to move the fuck on, right? We also have Saturn, which is quincunx to Mars. Now, you know, that energy is sort of like pulling us in two different directions. Mars, you know, it loves being in Leo because it's a fire sign and it wants us to break free. It wants us to, you know, we're leading with our heart to go into the world, but it can be a little aggressive, a little impulsive. And Saturn's over here like, whoa, no, come back. You need to take care of this. You need to let go of that. Mars is like, fuck you, dude. I want to go over here and do this. So, you know, we're going to have to compromise a little bit because they're both very powerful energies. And, you know, we don't want to necessarily give in and let Saturn control us, but we don't want to allow the impulsiveness of Mars to control us either. This is about maturation of our energy, really. Okay. So then on July 31st, we have the Leo new moon at 8 degrees. Now, I made another video about the Leo new moon. You can click on that down here. I'm not going to get too much into this, but this is really this is the second new moon that we've had in July, so it's technically a blue moon because that doesn't happen very often. So this is a really benefic new moon, and it's bringing in all this new, exciting, heart-centered, heart chakra opening kind of energy, and giving us more insight and drive towards our desires and what we want to create in this life. So now also here we have a yod forming we have a sextile between Saturn and Neptune, and the quincunx between Neptune and Mars, and then Saturn and Mars. So, a yod is known as the finger of God. So this is a big lesson that we're learning, and we need to learn here coming into the next few weeks. And so the lesson point is at Mars. So that's really about being true to our heart, right? And taking action. Like, when we're going through this journey, this process, most people go through a period of time where it's like the hermit phase of the spiritual awakening. You need to read all these books, and you need to gain all this intellectual knowledge and to understand and figure out what's going on with yourself while you're going through this. But there comes a time when you need to stop reading and thinking and sitting back and take action. And once you take action and actually go for the experience of this awakening process, that is when the real magic happens, right? Because we can have all this intellectual, idea and information, but it doesn't mean shit if we don't put it into practical use. So that is what this energy is teaching us. The sextile between Saturn and Neptune is saying, you know what, we need to dissolve these old structures and build new ones. We want to dream. We have bigger, better things that we can create. So let's dissolve the old structure to create the new one. And the quincunxes to Mars is saying, okay, but how do we do that? We do that by opening our heart, by freeing ourselves from this stuff. And in order to do that, we got to feel it, right? So this is a very powerful aspect, and happening on the same day as the new moon. You can bet that that there's going to be some massive breakthroughs and breakdowns and breakthroughs going on. So just hold on tight to that, okay? I think it's very, very exciting. Then on August 1st, Mercury goes direct. Hallelujah. So thankful for that. So, this whole it's at 23 degrees, 58 minutes. So we're going to round up to 24 degrees. This 24 degrees is right where the lunar eclipse in Capricorn was. So it's exactly opposite to that lunar eclipse. So that's going to bring up more stuff in regards to that lunar eclipse, that plutonic energy, right? It's gonna make us see and feel those things that we don't want to feel again and bring it up. But at least this time we're going to get the clarity. We're going to get the complete picture, the last puzzle piece, and connecting all these dots so that we can move forward. Like, all right, I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. I got this. We're going to make it happen. Okay. So August 6th, we have the moon opposite Uranus, which I felt like this is a sort of a big deal. Of course, from the beginning to the end of Leo season, the moon just goes around the entire zodiac once. But this really stuck out to me. Okay, we also have a quincunx here between the moon and Chiron. So this, I feel like, is going to be shaking things up quite a bit. But with also the sextiles and trines going on here, I feel like there's a lot of something's going to propel us into this next step. Okay, and now that Jupiter is at 14 degrees, right on the great attractor, and trine over to Venus now, that is really beneficial. And so Jupiter trine the moon, sun, and Venus has been incredibly beneficial. It's getting that enlightenment in our belief systems and structures so that we can grow from it and really have the clarity and the strength and the conviction to drive it home forward. Okay, so that Uranus energy, it's going to be intense, and it's opposing the moon while it's quincunx Chiron. So let it come up, let it go, and let that new energy flow in, and you're going to be good to go. Hey, I think that rhymed. All right, so next up we have August 9th. We have we have Jupiter and is now trine the Sun and Venus, but also sesquiquadrate to Mercury. So, this tells me, and with the Moon conjunct Jupiter right here on this day, this is pretty powerful because again, they're both now right on the great attractor, and with Mercury now in the mix, going direct at 28 degrees of Cancer, it's bringing the final pieces of clarity from this last month of craziness that we've gone through. So, and now the quincunx has sort of come into. Oh, we have another yod here. We got a lot of God activating energy here, which is exciting, but it can also be challenging. Okay, so of course this again is a Sun quincunx Neptune sextile over to the South Node in Saturn, and then Saturn and South Node is quincunx over to I'm going to say the Sun and Venus because they're within 2 degrees of each other. So this is bringing another aspect to the previous yod and making us look at another aspect. Boom, like how are we going to create our dreams in relationship to what do we really love, our deep desires, like who we are. Are we going to really step into this identity that is going to create this future that we really want? And with Jupiter communicating with Mercury there, that can be bringing in some, past life knowledge, some past life gifts that, we weren't open to before because we weren't able to see it. It's almost like in a video game when you're unlocking all these extra things, and you can, like in Mario, you can like jump up and kick a turtle 100 times and get 100 lives, or like I'm old school, so I'm like Metroid or like Kid Icarus. Like remember back on Nintendo like 20 years ago or maybe 30 years ago. Or Contra, up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. You get, infinity lives. You can beat the game. That's this kind of energy, okay? And it's the awareness, it's the perspective shift that gives us the ability to make these things happen. So, but you have to be able to really intuitively. This requires a lot of gut and intuitive instinct clarity. So we have to be able to tune in, zone in to that, so we can hear the messages, and so that we can be willing to receive. The biggest blockage here is the inability to receive this energy. So once we really let go and allow ourselves to bring this forward, boom, it's going to take a whole new level, baby. I love it. Then on August 11th, we have Jupiter going direct. That is so exciting. So, the way that I look at Jupiter going direct with all this other stuff going on, especially with the yod still here, that's like we're a sprinter, or like we're getting ready to run over these hurdles, and we're at the starting point, we're down, the gun is in the air, and when it goes direct, boom, gun goes off. And we still have these hurdles with the Jupiter square Neptune. Still have these hurdles that we have to go over, but now we have the clarity, we have the flow to be able to traverse these obstacles and jump just at the right time and be able to just keep that pace. We've done all the exercise, we've done all the work. Now we're going to be jumping over these hurdles and making it work in each hurdle. We're going to gain more confidence. Okay, so that's very exciting. And Chiron is also sesquiquadrate to the Sun, so this could be bringing in, past life, healing from past lives. A lot of past life energy going on, especially while this is going on with the finger of God. You can bet that, we are clearing so much karma, and as we clear it, that positive vibration is coming in faster and faster and faster, and we're winning, as Charlie Sheen likes to say. All right, so then on August 12th, we have Uranus going retrograde. So, around this time with the Jupiter energy here and the Uranus energy, they're very strong because they're basically both stationary, right? So they're not aspecting each other, but the aspects of these planets are going to be very dominant. So, this is going to be intense, good, and, intense, possibly difficult. Now that Uranus is going to be going retrograde for the next 6 months, I always feel that Uranus going retrograde is sort of like a little bit easier, right? Because when that lightning, thunder and lightning kind of energy comes in, that unexpected crazy change, when it first comes in, it shakes you to your core, right? We've already been shaken to our core. Now it goes retrograde. Now it's going to process and implement and bring that into experience. So we're going to have to take this energy, and we're going to be able to work with it more, which is really exciting. And, but when it's stationary like this, that's when energy just gets really powerful. So you may be feeling this like, I want to get up and go, oh my God, this is nuts. You may have a lot of energy. You may be even really frustrated, irritated, or confused, or just like a little out of it. But take this energy and stay. Don't feed into your impulses so much. Try to stay grounded, right? When you stay grounded with this energy, it is going to be so beneficial. You're like, that's when your superpowers really come into play, right? So, manage those superpowers. And on this day also, we have the moon conjunct Pluto. So, that's wild, man. It's trippy. So again, this with the Uranus energy being stationed and the Jupiter, this is blasting through plateaus again with belief systems, with self-confidence, like really ramping up that self-confidence and knowing that our desires are within our reach. Okay. So then on August 15th, we have the full moon at 22 degrees of Aquarius, which is opposite to the Sun, Venus, and Mars, basically. So I'm going to make another video on this full moon in and of itself. But, this is now the odds are sort of all done. But this is us looking at, all this fifth house matter stuff. And with Mars and Venus now coming much closer together, we can expect it to be very surface, very palpable in our experience, and bring enlightenment to these fifth house matters, which deal with the inner child, with athleticism, working out, being active, right? Being romantic, being funny, being flirty, all that kind of stuff, like being comfortable and stuff, like, yeah, baby, let's get out and do this. I'm feeling good. And as long as we have all these things around us that are helping us to feel good. We can have drama and all kinds of shit going on in our lives, but if we have that solid support system that's around us, that outside noise cannot affect us, right? So this is, and the full moon in Aquarius is giving us outside the box ideas and really creative aspects to let us explore our desires in a much more creative way. So allow that, creative energy to flow, whichever creative outlet you use, whether it's painting, whether it's singing, whether it's playing an instrument, whether it's lifting weights or, some form of exercise, or whether it's doing astrology readings, or, whatever it is that drives you, that makes you feel passionate, make it happen and just do it up. All right. Let's see. Then August 17th, we have Mars sesquiquadrate to Saturn. And the South Node. And then the next day, Mars enters Virgo. But this sesquiquadrate to Saturn and basically the Sun and Venus, again, this is us getting another reality check from Saturn. And this is especially connected to the South Node, a sesquiquadrate, definitely dealing with past life stuff. Okay, so the divine masculine and the divine feminine are coming into more alignment. And that divine feminine is really, really starting to strengthen. And with that just passing over the sun, we are now being infused with all this beautiful energy. If you've been doing the work, you're gonna feel really good on this day. Okay, you just gotta stay. Well, the sun today is also going to be conjunct Neptune, so that can bring our dreams, like really clear visions of our dreams, to the forefront, and allow us to really solidify this vision in our mind. And from solidifying it in our mind, we take steps to solidifying it in our life. Okay. Then on the 18th, Mars will go into Virgo. So Mars being in Virgo it's really good. Like we open up our heart in Leo, and now coming into Virgo, it's going to become more grounded, and it's going to want to structure all this new desire kind of energy. Okay, so be ready for that. the moon will also be going over Chiron this day. So again, but it's trying over to Mercury. So this is actually really, really good. This Chiron energy has been hitting us pretty hard, and also in relationship to the Pluto and the Uranus energy. But we're at this point where we're like, okay, dude, I got this. Like, it is what it is. Like, you're sort of numbed out to it, but it's numbed out because you've been facing it, right? So it's all good. It's all gravy, and that's okay. So really, I don't see we have Jupiter that's quincunx to the north node here, and now that Jupiter is direct, this is giving us that sort of uncomfortable, like, which way do we want to go? But with all these other aspects here, we're going to have the clarity and the strength to move through it. So I'm not too worried about that. And the moon today is square to Saturn and quincunx to the sun, Mars, and Venus. So, that probably from the, for the few days after the full moon in Aquarius, again, just like after the lunar eclipse in Capricorn, it's going to be sort of flowing and having a couple cycles of this energy coming up. I think it's going to all be good stuff, but it could still be a little uncomfortable. So, just be aware of that. And then, let's see here. Now we have on the 20th, we have Venus at 29 degrees of Leo. Now, 29 and the sun's at 27. 27, 28, 29, and 0 are all master numbers, these degrees. So emotions could be running very high. Passions or that impulsive nature, or even like feeling sexy or feeling like, lustful, wanting to be a little promiscuous or rambunctious. Have fun with it, but, just make sure that you have your boundaries and your morals, where you want them to be, and don't, neglect or sacrifice yourself to gain an outcome that is only going to hurt you later. Okay. So now we have Venus at 0 degrees of Virgo, and now it's only 2 degrees away from Mars. So those guys are coming up to a conjunction, and whenever Mars and Venus come to a conjunction, that's like the divine masculine and the divine feminine sitting down, shaking hands, hanging out, and really bringing each other together. So this is a very culminating kind of energy. And with the sesquiquadrate to Saturn, that tells me that whatever imbalances we had from past lives going on, that's going to be eradicated here. And with the sun being so close too, that's close to our heart. That's like feeling it in our soul. And that's really bringing truth to light about who we are and what we want to create in this life, right? So we have August 22nd. We have the sun at 29 degrees, going to be intense. But, we have Uranus here now trining over to these planets, which is really a breath of fresh air, because we had the squares, we have the sesquiquadrates, now we have this trine. So after all this difficult, uncomfortable energy, now it's like bam. And with Uranus being trine over, and with Mars and Venus almost being in a conjunction here, that's just clear, exciting, evolutionary communication. So coming towards the end of August is going to be really beneficial. Whatever we've been working on for a while is going to start to come to fruition, and things are going to start to manifest into our lives like we've been working and trying for so hard for, but it's going to be like, finally things are starting to happen. This is fantastic, right? So there is your Leo season report and update. I hope you guys enjoyed this information. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And if you would like a private reading from me, please go to trinityfitnessastrology.com. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.